So let's start today's session. Today we are going to discuss the topic learning curve analysis from the topic forecasting techniques in planning, budgeting, and forecasting. And learning curve, the learning curve. What is learning curve? It is evident in the name itself. It is a process of learning. The main concept behind this learning curve is that as the amount of experience at a person gains, his efficiency also increases. If a person who is getting experience in a given task, as his experience in a given task is increasing, his efficiency in performing that task is going to increase. As a result of this increasing efficiency, the time, the cost that is required to complete that task is going to decrease. So this is the main concept behind this learning curve. Here, this learning curve is represented as a percentage, which ranges from 50 to 100%. It cannot be 100% because 100% learning refers to there is no progress in the our production process, and learning curve percentage cannot be below 50%. So let's take an example from we could take an example from the real life itself. Say we are given a task which is a manual labor, and we are given certain for example, for doing this task for the first time, I took 10 minutes to complete the task. When I'm doing this task for the second time, I would be requiring only 8 minutes. And when I am repeatedly doing this, my time to complete the task is going to decrease. At some point of time, it remains constant because a minimum time is required to complete that task. This is what learning is. As I am getting experienced in performing a task, my efficiency in performing that task is going to increase. As my efficiency is increasing, the time or the cost that is required to perform that task is also going to decrease. So this is what is learning curve is. So here we are given an example of Terry, who is a college student. He's very excited in going for trips, going for trekkings, and he decided some of his friends, some of his friends decided to go for a camping, and for that purpose, he decided to purchase a new tent. So when he arrived at the first campsite, he took out all the instructions how to build a tent, and he laid out all the materials and poles, and he took 40 minutes to construct his tent. And the next morning, he packed up all his stuff and he went to another campsite. And at that time, he needed to construct the tent again, and he took only 30 minutes to complete the construction of the tent. So at the end of the trip, he once more need to construct the tent, and he took only 23 minutes in building his tent. So this is the experience. For the first time, he took 30 minutes, and for the second time, he took 30 minutes, and for the third time, 23 minutes. He is repeatedly doing this task, and as he is repeatedly doing this task, his experience got increased. As a result, his efficiency got increased. As a result, so gradually, the time required to complete the task also increased. By decreasing the time required to complete the task, the cost can also be reduced. So this concept is what is called learning curve. So there are many two learning curve models commonly used. One is the cumulative average time learning model, and the other is the incremental unit time learning model. So the cumulative average time learning model is mainly based on the assumption that as the cumulative quantity of the units that we produce doubles, the cumulative average time required per unit to perform that task declines at a constant rate. So this cumulative average time learning model can also be used to estimate the average time to produce the number of units produced. To produce all of the given number of units produced. So the main logic behind this cumulative average time learning model is that when the cumulative quantity of the unit produced doubles, remember the word doubles, when the cumulative quantity of the unit produced doubles, the cumulative average time required per unit to produce that product will decline at a constant rate. And we have the incremental unit time learning model. The main assumption behind this incremental unit time learning model is that when the cumulative quantity of the unit produced doubles, the incremental or additional amount of time required to produce the last unit. The last unit declines at a constant rate. So the main difference between the cumulative average time learning model and the incremental unit time learning model is that in the cumulative average time learning model, as the cumulative quantity of the unit produced doubles, cumulative average time per unit declines at a constant rate, while in incremental unit time learning model, the incremental or additional amount of time required to produce the last unit declines at a constant rate. So as in the CMA examination point of view, we are only going to learn this cumulative average time learning model. In the testing, the incremental unit time learning model is not tested. So in our session, we are only going to concentrate on the cumulative average time learning model. So here we have an example. The example is about a plant manufacturer, a plant who manufactures car, and his subject to date learning curve percentage is provided as 80%. In order to produce the first model of the car, he required 10 hours to produce it, and according to the cumulative average time learning model, so the estimated total time required to produce the first two cars will be 80% of the total time it required to produce if there is no learning model. So if there is no learning curve in existence, the total time required to produce the two cars will be 10 hours for the first one and 10 hours for the second one. Totally 20 hours will be required. But there is a learning curve which is 80%. So the time required will be 80% of the total time required to produce the two cars if there is no learning in existence. So the total time required to produce the two cars at 80% learning curve will be 80% of 20 hours, which is 16 hours. So likewise, we could compute the average time or the total time required to produce the cars and a doubling. Let me show you. So in the question it is said that the time to produce first car is 10 hours. And if there is no learning, if there is no learning, the time required to produce the two cars would be 10 plus 10, that is equal to 20 hours. But it is said that there is a learning curve of 80%. Since there is a learning curve of 80%, the total time required to produce the two cars would be, that is 80% of 20. That will be 16 hours. So easily we could compute the total time required to produce cars at the same time, the average time required to produce the given number of units also. So in this cumulative time average learning model, it is said that when the cumulative number of units produced doubles. Say, for example, if 1 unit is produced, the next doubling would be 2, and the next doubling would be 2 plus 2, 4, next doubling would be 8, next would be 18, as it continues. So the total time required to produce the first unit would be 10, and the second would be, as computed, 16, and the third would be 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10, 40 into 80%, that would be 32. Likewise, it goes on. So we could assign a simple formula to compute the total doublings, the total time required to complete these units, as well as the average time required to produce those units. So the formula is like that. if we are to compute the total time, the formula is total time is equal to A into within brackets 2 into LC. LC is the learning curve percentage raised to N. Two into LC raised to N. Where A is the time required to produce the first unit. Time to produce first unit. And LC is the learning curve percentage. And N denotes the number of doublings. So, as I said in the previous example, when 1 gets to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 8, here actually you could see when 1 becomes 2, there is first doubling, 2 to 4, the second doubling, 4 to 8, third doubling, 8 to 60, fourth doubling. So the N, if we have to compute the total time required to produce 8 units, the N would be 1, 1 to 2, 1, 2 to 4, 2, 3, 4 to 8, 3 doublings. N would be 3. And learning curve percentage is 80% as given in the question. And A will be the time required to produce the first unit, that will be 10 in this question. So like this, we could also find the average time to produce this number of units. So the average time is equal to A into within bracket, instead of 2 into LC, we just have LC raised to N. We could find the average time required to produce this number of units. So from the example itself, let me just take an example of 8 units. So when we have to compute the total time required to produce the 8 units, the formula, while we substitute all the figures in the formula would be total time is equal to, total time equal to 10 into 2 into LC would be 80%, that is 0.8 raised to N would be, when 1 becomes 2, there is first doubling, 2 becomes 4, there is second doubling, and 4 becomes 8, there is third doubling. So the N would be 3. So the answer would be when 10 into 2 into 0.8 will be 1.6 into raised to 3, that is 1.6 to the power of 3 would be 4.096 into the time required to produce the first unit would be 10, that will be 40.96. The total time required to produce 8 units is what is this. And we could find the average time required to produce this 8 units. Average time to produce 8 units, that is equal to, either we could use a formula that is given above, or which is just 40.96 divided by 8, that would be 5.12 hours. Clear? Or we could use the above formula, which is A, which is 10 into 0.8. This is the LC, that is learning curve percentage, raised to n as 3 doubling, that is equal to 0.8 to the power of 3 gives 0.512 into 10 will be 5.12. Are you clear with this formula and the computations? Hello, please respond. Are you clear with the formula and the computations? Okay, done. Do I have to explain once more? Learning curve computation is very important. That is, at the examination point of view, we just need to remember these two formula, which is the total time required to produce those number of units as the cumulative number of unit doubles is equal to A into 2 into LC raised to n, where A is the initial the time required to produce the initial unit, and LC is the learning curve percentage, where n represents the number of doublings, and the average time to produce the number of units would be A into LC raised to n, where A, as I said earlier, which is the initial time required to produce the initial unit, LC is the learning curve percentage, and is the number of units. Or you could just find the average time by dividing the total time by the number of units, or you could find the total time by total time can also be found in the similar way by finding the average time. What the average time is 5.12 into the total number of units is 8. So the total time would be 5.12 into 8. That is 40.96 itself. Are you clear with the idea? Are you clear with it? Okay. When 1 becomes 2, the first doubling. 2 becomes 4, second doubling. 4 becomes 8, third doubling. 8 becomes 16, it is the fourth doubling. This is how we are going to calculate the number of doublings. So we just finished the topic learning curve. Next we are going to move benefits and limitations of the learning curve in forecasting is the topic that we are going to discuss now. So in the benefits, it helps in the development of production and labor budget. By using this learning curve, we could compute the total time required or the average time required to produce this number of units. So by knowing this average time or the total time required to produce this unit, we could develop the labor budget, because the labor budget is developed based on the number of hours that is required. By knowing the number of hours that is required with the learning curve in existence, it is very helpful in the development of the production budget as well as the labor budget. And it enables cost volume profit analysis, CVP analysis or break-even analysis. We could use this because it is more related to the time and the cost. And there is a learning curve, when the time to produce such a to produce one job, or the time to perform a task decreases, the efficiency decreases, the time and the cost that is required to the time and cost required to complete the task is decreasing, the efficiency is increasing. So thereby we could apply this learning curve in the cost volume profit analysis. And capital budgeting. Capital budgeting means in the investment decisions, like whether to invest in a project or not. These all decisions, or whether to continue with this particular project, whether to make any changes, whether to make any improvements, all these decisions relating to the allocation of the resources or the capital into a specific project or investment is what is in this capital budgeting. So by knowing this learning curve, we could it will be very useful in the capital budgeting decisions. And make or buy decisions, because make or buy decisions is a margin analysis decision where the decision is whether to make this product in-house or whether to buy it from an outside supplier. So in deciding whether to make or whether to buy, the cost associated with these two options is necessary. When we are going to make this product in-house, the learning curve has its importance, because if there is a learning curve in existence, the time required, the cost will be low as the number of units gets doubled, or the number of units when the production increases, the time and cost will be decreasing. So, in order to decide whether to make or buy, this learning curve has an important role. And life cycle costing and bidding, the product life cycle cost as well as the bidding in order to present a bid to a vendor, or whether the life cycle costing, product life cycle costing, it has very importance. It has importance. And the limitations of the learning curve is that learning curve analysis is appropriate only for labor intensive operation. As I said, when a person who is given a task, as he's performing this task repeatedly, his experience is increasing. As his experience is increasing, his efficiency is also increasing. So this learning curve principle, this learning curve analysis cannot be applied in this labor intensive operations, as there is no learning in case of machines. If we are having capital intensive technology, we are using more and more machines, and there cannot be any learning for these machines. Learning can only be possible for humans or laborers. And the learning curve assumed to be constant. This is the second limitation, because the learning rate is assumed to be constant, which may not be true in all cases, because the learning curve is either increase or decrease depending upon the type of the labor that we are using. So the learning curve rate remains constant. This assumption will not hold true in the real life scenario. So the reliability of the learning curve calculation can be jeopardized, because as I said earlier, there is an assumption behind this cumulative average learning time model, cumulative average time learning model, or incremental average time learning model, is that when the cumulative number of units that produced doubles, the incremental time, or the cumulative average time per unit, or the incremental time for the last unit is going to decline at a constant rate, because there is a constant learning curve that we associated with this things. So this is not true in this real life scenario. So the reliability of the learning curve is questionable. We completed the topic learning curve. Next, we are going to move forward to the next topic, which is probability concepts in forecasting, or this expected value. Other than linear regression, then we have expected value, and as you could see, time series, linear regression, learning curve. Then we have expected value. This is the expected value is the last topic in the forecasting technique section that we are going to discuss now. And using probability concepts in forecasting. I hope you are aware of the concept of probability, where there is a chance, may or may not happen, uncertainty. For those uncertainty, we are assigning a value which is probability. So in this expected value, we are going to calculate there are many possible outcomes. From that possible outcome, we are going to calculate the expected outcome based on the probability of occurrence of each outcome. This is what is the main concept behind the calculation of the expected value. So here we given an example. In the example, we are going to for the sale of the computers. So here given the number of sale 0, sale 1 computer, 2 computer till 9 computers, and the probability of the sales is also given along with that. 60% probability for selling of no computers, and 80% for one computer, 94 so 6%, 8%, 9 for two computer, 11 for 3, 13 for 4. Likewise, we are given the probability value, and we are going to calculate the expected number of sales or expected value of the computer sales on an average day, which is computed as, which is the sum of the values. The number of sales is multiplied with their probability values, and we are going to sum up all those probability values, and this expected value would be the total of this probability value, that is 4.58 computers. So what we are going to infer from this calculation is that on an average day, it is expected to sell 4.58 computers, or we could say 5 computers. It's not possible to sell 4.58 computers, 5 computers. We could round off this 4.58 into 5. On an average day, we are able to sell 5 computers using this expected value. So this is what the basis of the expected value. We are going to assign probabilities value for the each and every possible outcomes, and we are going to multiply this outcome with their probability value and sum all these products, and we get the expected value. So this is the graphical representation of this probability distributions of sales of computers that we discussed in this previous example. So expected value. This expected value is a predicted value of a variable. It is calculated as the sum of the all possible values multiplied by their probability of its occurrence. All the possible values of possible outcome is multiplied by their probability for occurrence, and all these values are then summed up, and we get the expected value. This expected value, it's not it's not a forecasted value, it's not an estimated value based on certain assumptions, but it is the mean value or the average value. It is a predicted value of the variable based on the probability of its occurrence. So here we again given an example. So it's the examples of a financial analyst. We are the financial analyst of a development company, and the manager of the company just asked me to assess the viability of a future development project. And among this development project, I'm asked to select the most promising one. So according to this estimates, project A is upon completion, it shows 4% to achieve a value of 2 million and a probability of 6% to achieve a value of $500,000. And project B, which shows the probability of 3% to achieve, so 30% to achieve 3 million, and 70% probability is that we are going to achieve $200,000 upon completion. Okay, from this, we are going to come with the expected value, expected profit from both these projects, and we are going to select the best project among this, or the most promising project among this. So the calculation is that for the project A, as you can see, there is 40% probability that you could achieve 2 million. There is 60% probability that you could achieve 500,000 profits. So the expected value for project A, or the expected profits from the project A, would be 2 million into 40% plus 500,000 into 60%, which is 1,100,000. And for the project B, there is 30% probability that we will be achieving 3 million in profits, and 70% probability that we will be achieving only 200,000 in profits. So the expected profit for project B would be 30% into 3 million plus 70% into 200,000, which will be 1,040,000. So while we compare the expected values or expected profits of project A and B, it is evident that project A is able to gain 1,100,000, which is greater than the expected profits of project B. So as the manager of the company, I would be choosing project A as its expected profit is more higher than expected profits of project B. So project A is the most promising project among the two projects. So this is the way that we are going to compute the expected value and the interpretation and the choosing of the project thereby. So in the next topic, we are going to deal with the merits and demerits of the expected value. And the merit section, it is a simple and easy method. It is very clear because we are going to assign probability value for each and every outcome, and we are going to multiply this probability value with the outcome, and sum of this product would be the expected value. It's very simple and easy to understand, and helps to determine the expected value during uncertain situation. So when we are going to apply the probability is only applicable if there exists an uncertainty. So in case of uncertainty, in case of uncertain situations, we could find the expected value from the all possible outcomes. And demerits of expected value. So the success of this outcome, the success of this expected value, the interpretation depends upon the probability value that we are assigning. If the probability value that we assign to every outcome is inaccurate, our expected value would be different, or our expected value would be wrong. So this assumes the decision maker as risk neutral because he assigning the probability value for each and every outcome, and he is calculating an expected value. Based on this expected value, we are going to select the most promising option or the most promising investment options among these options available. So decision maker is risk neutral. He is going to reduce his risk. He is going to minimize his risk or optimize his risk. So this decision maker is risk neutral, which is not always true. The decision maker may be risk averse or maybe a risk taker. Depending upon situations, it may vary. So we are done with the forecasting techniques. Just a recap. We were discussing the different forecasting techniques like linear regression analysis, time series analysis, learning curve analysis, and expected value. The linear regression analysis consists of two types, simple linear regression and multiple linear regression. And we have the time series analysis, learning curve analysis. In the learning curve analysis, we will be discussing two topics, the two methods of learning curve analysis, which is cumulative time average learning model and incremental time average learning model. And the last one is the expected value. So along with this, our topic forecasting technique is over. Are you clear with the topics that we discussed today? Are you clear with the various forecasting techniques? Okay, done. Next, we are going to practice some questions from this learning curve session, which is very important in the examination point of view. So the first question is, Current company plans to bid on a special project that calls for a total of 24,000 units. The units would be produced in lots, with the first lot consisting of 750 units. Based on prior experience, the direct labor time needed per unit of the product will be progressively smaller by a constant percentage rate as experience is gained in the manufacturing process. The quantitative method that would best estimate Huron's total cost for the project is option A, discounted cash flow techniques, option B, learning curve techniques, option C, differential calculus, option D, linear programming. Can you give me the answer? The Huron company is a plan to place a bid for a special project which calls for the production of 24,000 units, and this units will be produced in lots, and the first lot will be containing 750 units. And based on the prior experience, it is said that the direct labor time, the labor time needed to produce a number of units, would be decreasing at a constant percentage rate. So the quantitative technique or the forecasting technique that would best suit the computation of the total cost for this project would be. Can you give me the answer? Anju, Safita, can you give me the answer? Are you there? Okay, let's explain. The answer is learning curve techniques. It is said that they are going for a bidding. And the main merit of this learning curve analysis, it is used in capital budgeting decisions and bidding as well. So the units are produced in bids, lots, which first lot would be consisting of 750 units. And the main key point in this question is that the direct labor time needed per unit of the product would be progressively smaller. It will be progressively smaller by a constant percentage rate as experience is gained in the manufacturing process. What is the learning curve model telling? As a person who is gaining experience in a given task is increasing, his efficiency will be increasing. As a result, the time or cost required to produce that product would be decreasing. This is what is said in the second line, where the direct labor time needed per unit of the product will be progressively smaller by a constant percentage, will be decreasing by a constant percentage as experience is gained in the manufacturing process. So the quantitative method or the forecasting technique that would best suit this type of analysis is what is the learning curve technique. Linear programming problem is not, linear programming is not used. Discounted cash flow techniques is used in the capital budgeting decision. It is not about the capital budgeting decision. And differential calculus, differentiation or integration is not applied here. This is the outside the purview of this differentiation and integration. Linear programming is for the optimization decision in order to optimum cost, optimum profit. In order to decide on this optimization or optimum cost or optimum profit situation, we would be using linear programming. Not in the situation here, the best method used is the learning curve analysis. So the explanation is provided below. The discounted cash flow techniques is used in the capital budgeting. So the learning curve model only exists when more and more units are produced. This experience would be gained as a result. The time required to produce that unit will be decreasing. And differential calculus is to discover the maximum and minimum points. And linear programming is to using situation were to determine how to maximize profit in a situation if there is constraints. So we have another question, but it is about high-tech industries. It's the process of preparing a competitive bid for the sale of a customized product and is currently manufacturing a comparable specialized component which is labor intensive with a long run production. So the method that high-tech would use to predict the cost of manufacturing the proposed new customized product is. We have for options Monte Carlo simulation, expected value analysis, learning curve analysis, and regression analysis. So the first point is it is in the process of preparing a bid for the sale of a customized product. So, and it is a labor intensive with long production run. So in these situations, the best method that high-tech would use to predict the cost of manufacturing the proposed new customized product is what? Can you give me the answer? Yeah, option B. Let's check whether it is option B or not. The answer is option C. Let me just explain. Here, this high-tech industries is the process of preparing a competitive bid. And it is also second in the facility. It is a labor-intensive industry with a long-run production, and the product is a customized product. And the method that would be used, we could not use the expected value analysis because we are not given the possible outcomes, or we are not faced with the situation of uncertainty here. So we could not use this expected value analysis. And Monte Carlo simulation is used in a situation where there are several possible outcomes, and we are to select among them the best possible outcome. In the situation, Monte Carlo simulation is used. Regression analysis is not used because there is no dependent variable, there is no independent variable mentioned in the question. We are not going to forecast anything. We are going to only find the best method that would be suitable to cost this project, to project the cost of the manufacturing of this proposed new customized product, which is learning curve analysis. We could see the explanation. This Monte Carlo simulation is maybe used to generate expected results from a variety of variables. And where there are a variety of possible outcomes provided. From this, if we have to calculate the expected value, we would be using Monte Carlo simulation. In this question, no such information is provided. And expected value, when there are several possible outcomes and the probability for those outcomes are provided. In that situation, we could use expected analysis. No such data is provided in the question, so we could not use expected value. And the learning curve. Learning curve is interested in the impact of experience on production. So more unit is produced, the time required to produce each unit will be decreasing. Here in this question, it is a labor-intensive industry. It is the main hit, and the product is a customized product, and they are going for a bidding. And regression analysis, as used to address, is to discuss the behavior of the dependent variable and independent variable changes. Here, no such dependent or independent variables are mentioned, so regression analysis cannot be used. So the option which is clearly evident from this question is learning curve analysis. So let's discuss some of the problems. So we have a problem here. A Propeller Incorporated. They are planning to manufacture newly designed high technology propeller for airplanes. And Propeller forecasts that as workers gain experience, they will need less time to complete the job. And based on prior experience, Propeller estimate a 70% cumulative learning curve and has projected the following cost. So the propeller manufactures 8 propellers. The total manufacturing cost would be, as a cumulative number of units produced, cost 1 for the first unit. Manufacturing average cost per unit would be 20,000 and total cost would be 20,000. For the second unit's average time will be 14,000 and total cost would be 18,000. So let's get into the question. If propeller manufacture 8 propellers, the total manufacturing cost would be, the propeller is going to manufacture 8 propellers, the total manufacturing cost would be what? So here in this question, it is given that the learning curve percentage is 70% and the time required to produce the first unit would be 20,000 and second unit average time would be 14,000 and we are to compute the total manufacturing cost. We are to compute the total manufacturing cost to produce the 8 propellers. So let me just show the computations. So in this question, the doubling, we could record the doubling. First doubling, when 2, 4, and number of 8 number of units comes in the doubling 3, third doubling, where n is equal to 3. And we have to compute the total time required to produce 8 propellers. So how can we compute the total time? So total cost, sorry, it's not the time, it is the cost. So the formula is A into 2 into learning curve percentage raised to number of doublings. So the cost required to produce the first unit, the A in this equation would be 20,000 into 2 into, and the learning curve percentage is given in the question as 70% raised to number of doublings as 3. When 1 becomes 2, first doubling, 2 becomes 4, second doubling, 4 becomes 8. When the 8 number of units is produced, the number of doublings would be 8. So we could compute the answer as 2 into 70% will becomes 1.4. 1.4 to the power of 3 will be 2.744. So 20,000 into 2.744 would be 54,880. This is the total cost that is required to produce 8 units, and we could also find the average time. Average time to produce 8 units would be 54,880 divided by 8. That would be 6860. Or we could use the formula which is A into LC raised to N, whichever as you may feel comfortable. So the answer is 54,880. We could just check. The answer is 54,880. Are you clear with the explanation? Are you clear with how to compute the answer? Okay, then. Can we move forward? So we have the next question. So the next question is, Most Point Manufacturing recently completed and sold an order of 50 units that had cost as follows. So this Most Point Manufacturing, they recently completed and sold an order for 50 units. The cost related to those 50 units is provided. Direct material cost, direct labor cost, variable overhead and fixed overhead. This cost is provided. So this overhead is applied on the basis of direct labor hours and is applied at 10% of the variable cost. All such details are provided. And the company has now been requested to prepare a bid for 150 units of the same products. Are required to prepare a bid for the bid for 150 units of the same product. So if an 80% learning curve is applicable, most points total cost on this order would be estimated at. There exists an 80% learning curve. Here we given the data relating to 50 units and we are going to prepare a bid for the 150 units. Okay, let's check how we are going to compute this. So in order to produce the first 50 units, the cost is 15,400 and the learning curve that is applied is 80%. $15,400 and 80%. Okay. For the next question, a learning curve is 80%, and the A, which is A, that the cost to produce the first 50 units will be 15,400. Right. Let's take the example of 5. In the first lot, we are producing 50 units. In the second lot, we would be producing 50 plus 50, 100 units. In the next doubling, that is when 2 becomes 4, we would be producing 200 units. Right. When this is produced in lots, and the first doubling, the number of units produced would be 50 units. In the second doubling, it would be 100 units. In the fourth doubling, 200 units. But we are asked to prepare a bid for 150 units. The bid is for 150 units. So how can we find the bid for 150 units? This is very easily to complete. We could find the total cost to produce this 200 units. From this total cost, we could subtract the total cost required to produce this 50 units. Then we get the total cost required to produce this 150 units. Get it? Firstly, we need to compute the total cost required to produce the 200 units. And from that, we need to subtract the total cost required to produce this 50 units. So 200 minus 50, we will be getting the total cost required to produce the 150 units. So how can we find the total cost required to produce this 200 units? So total cost for 200 units would be equal to, as the equation, A into, that is A, what is A? A is 15,400. Into, what is 2 into, what is LC? LC is 80%, raised to Number of doublings is when 1 becomes 2, first doubling, when 2 becomes 4, number of doublings is 2. So the answer would be 2 into 0.8 would be 1.6. When 1.6 to the power of 2 would be 2.56 into a 15,400 would be 394.24. This is the total time required to produce the 200 units. From this total time required to produce 200 units, we need to subtract the time required to produce that 50 units. That will be from 394.24. We need to subtract the time required to produce the first 50 units. The cost required to produce the first 50 units, which is 15,400. From this, we need to subtract 15,400. We get 240.24 as the time required to produce what? 150 units. It's the time, so the time not cost to produce 150 units. Yes. So here just it is given. We need to first 50 units in this manufacturing analysis. So we'll analyze the cost for the first 200 units and then subtract from that cost for the first 50 units in order to calculate the cost for the units numbered 51 through 100. So the first doubling takes place at number 100 and the second doubling at number 200. So the time required for the total of 200,000 units was 2560. That is 1000 hours into 0.8 into 2 into 0.8 into 2. This is given. So 1000 hours into 0.2564 hours for 200,000 units. From this 2560 hours for 200 units minus the 1000 hours, we get 15 hours required for the last 50 units. we are going to find the total cost required to produce 200 units. From the total cost, we are going to subtract the total cost required to produce first 50 units. Then we will get the total cost required to produce this 150 units. So, while using this learning curve model, we computed that the total time required to produce 200 units would be 2560 60 hours. So, we need to compute the total cost required for 200 units. Direct material cost would be 1500 divided by 50. We will get to 1 per unit cost into 200. We get 6000. Direct labor is the number of hours is required is 2560 into 8.5 per labor cost will be 21,760. Variable overhead would be 2560. Variable overhead is applied on the basis of direct labor hours, which is 2560 hours into 4, which is 10,240. And fixed overhead is fixed, which is 1,400. So the total cost would be 6,000 plus 21,760 plus 10,240 plus 1,400 will be 39,400 will be the total cost required to produce how many units? 200 units. From that, we need to subtract the total cost required to produce 39,400 would be, 39,400 would be the total cost required to produce 200 units. From that, we need to subtract the total cost for 50 units, which will be 15,400 as given in the question. So, 39,400 minus 15,400 would be sorry, there is a correction in the question. It is provided that the fixed overhead at the rate of fixed overhead is applied at the rate of 10% of the variable cost. Variable cost is 10,240. So the 10% of variable cost is 1024. It is not 1,400. It is 1024. So the total cost would be 6,000 plus 21,760 plus 10,240 plus 1,024, which will be 390.24. Of 38,000. So fixed overhead rate of 10%, which would be 38,000. So 10% of the total variable cost, including direct material, direct labor, and variable overhead, which will be 3,800. So the total cost for producing 200,000 units will be 41,800. From that, we need to subtract the first 50 units cost, which will be 15,400 provided in the question. 41,800 minus 15,400 is 26,400. Which one of the following techniques would most likely be used to analyze reductions in the time required to perform a task as experience with that task increases? It's a straight question. This is a question from the part that we are discussing just now. Can you give me the answer? Okay, option B is the right answer. Reduction in time. This is what is the basis of learning curve. Required to perform a task as experience increases. This is the main concept, main assumption behind the learning curve. That is, as the experience on a given task increases, the efficiency increases. As a result, the time and cost required to perform the task will also decreases. So the option is learning curve analysis. So here comes the next question. A manufacturing company required 800 direct labor hours to produce the first lot of 4 units of a new motor car, and manager believes that a 90% learning curve will be experienced over the next 4 lots of production. How many direct labor hours will be required to manufacture the next 12 units? So there is 90% learning curve. In order to produce the first lot, we required 800 direct labor hours. We need to find the time total labor hours required to produce 12 units. In the first lot, we have how many units? 4 units, and it requires 800 direct labor. In the second lot, we would be having 8 units, 8 units, and in the next doubling, where 2 becomes 4. In 2 becomes 4, the number of units would be 4 into 4, which is 16 units. Got it? In the first lot, there is 4 units. In the second lot, 8 units. The doubling. First doubling, second doubling. In the next doubling, we will be having 16 units. What we are asked is to find the direct labor hours required to manufacture the next 12 units. Okay. So in order to calculate the number of time required, the direct labor hours required to produce the 12 units, we can subtract the total time required to produce the 16 units and the total time required to produce 4 units. That will be 16 minus 4. We could get the total time required to produce 16 units. How can we find the total time required to produce the 16 units? It is in the fourth lot. It is in the fourth lot, where the total time required will be 800. That is the time required to produce the first lot into 2 into LC. Learning curve is 90% raised to the number of doublings is 2. So 800 into 2.0, 2 into 0.9. 2 into 0.9 will be 1.8. 1.8 to the power of 2 will be 3.24. 800 into 3.24 will be 2592 hours. This would be the total time required to produce 16 units. From that, we need to subtract the total time required to produce 4 units. That is 2590 minus 800. That is 1792. It is the total time required to produce 12 units. Option C, 1792. Did you get the answer? Is it clear? Explanation is clear? Look, the next question is a bit different. A manufacturing company has the opportunity to submit a bid for 20 units of a product on which it has already produced 2 10 units lots. The production manager believes that the learning experience observed on the first 2 lots will continue for at least the next 2 lots. The direct labor required on the first 2 lots was as follows: 5,000 direct labor hours for the first lot of 10 units, 3,000 direct labor hours for the second lot of 10 units. The learning rate experienced by the company on the first 2 lots of this product using the cumulative average time learning model. Here, what we are asked is to find the learning rate or LC, learning curve percentage we need to find. So, in order to produce the first lot, the time required is 5,000 direct labor hours. When the second lot is produced, the time required is 3,000 units. From this information itself, it is evident that there is a learning taking place. If there is no learning, the time required to produce a second lot would be 10,000 units. 5,000 plus 5,000, 10,000. But instead of, sorry, the average time learning model is 3,000. The average time would be the same as 5,000 itself. Total time would be 10,000. So 10,000 divided by 2, 5,000 would be the average time to produce the second lot. Instead of we need 5,000, the average time was 3,000. So the cumulative average time per unit will be decreased as the cumulative number of units produced doubles. So the learning rate would be 3000 divided by 5000. It is 60%. Codify that 5000 reduced by a particular percentage would be 3000 because 5000 is the average time required to produce the first lot, and in order to produce the second lot the average time is 3000. Average time per unit is 3000. So the 5000 gets reduced by a particular percentage to get 3000. So what will be it? 3000 divided by 5000 will be 60%. It is the learning rate applicable. Then we can move on to the next question. Langley Corporation is developing a new product that will be manufactured in pairs. The company recently produced the first 2 units of this product using 200 hours of direct labor time. If Langley has 90% learning curve and uses the cumulative average time learning model, the total direct labor time to manufacture the first 4 units of this new product is. So it's developing a new product. The company recently produced the first 2 units of this product using 200 labor hours. Langley has 90% learning curve and uses the cumulative average time learning model. The total direct labor time to manufacture the first 4 units of this product is. In order to produce the first 2 units, it took 200 hours. So Langley's experienced a 19% learning curve and the cumulative average time learning model, the direct labor time to manufacture the first 4 units of this new product is. The first lot there is 2 units, and in the second lot there will be 4 units. The total time, the total direct labor time to manufacture the first 4 units would be, if there is no learning, it would be 200 plus 200, it will be 400 hours. But there exists a learning percentage of 90%. So 400 into 90%, 360 hours would be the time that it will take to produce the first 4 units. In the second lot, there is only one W. So in order to produce the first 2 units, we require 200 units. If there is no doubling, in order to produce the 4 units, they would be taking 400 hours. But there is a learning curve percentage of 90%. So the total time required to produce the 4 units would be 400 hours if there is no learning, reduced by this 90% of learning curve, which will be 360 hours will be the total time required to produce that 4 units. So the next question is, Aerosub Incorporated has developed a new product for spacecraft that includes the manufacturing of a complex part. The manufacturing of this part requires a high degree of technical skill. Management believes there is a good opportunity for its technical force to learn and improve as they become accustomed to the production process. The production of the first unit requires 10,000 direct labor hours. So the first unit requires 10,000 direct labor hours. and 80% learning curve is used and 8 units are produced. The cumulative average direct labor hours required per unit. Average per unit time is asked for 8 units. For the first unit, they require 10,000 direct labor. In the second doubling, and for third doubling and 8 doubling, 8 units is produced in the third doubling. First, second, and third doubling. So the average time, we are asking about the average time. How can we find the average time? Average time is equal to A into LC raised to N, where A is 10,000 into learning curve percentage, it is provided as 80% raised to N. Number of doubling is 3. 80% to the power of 3 would be 0.512 into 10,000 would be 5120. This would be the average time required to produce 8 units. 5120. Option D is the right answer. Okay. Then we can move forward to the next question. The average labor cost per unit of the first batch produced by a new process is 120. For the first batch, the average cost per unit is $120. The cumulative average labor cost after the second batch is 72. Cumulative average second batch, it is 72. Using a batch size of 100, assuming the learning curve continues, the total labor cost of 4 batches would be 4 batches. So the first batch it is 100 units, and for the second batch they would be 200 units. In the fourth batch they would be 400 units, and we need to find the total labor cost for the 4 batches. Here one thing is missing, which is the learning curve percentage. We need to find the learning curve percentage. When 120, the average time required to produce the first batch is 120, and the second batch, the average time gets reduced to 72. So the learning curve would be 72 divided by 120, which is 62. Sorry, 60%. So we got the learning curve percentage. We could find the total labor cost for the 4 batches. Total cost would be, or total time required would be A into 2 into LC raised to N, where A is 120 into 2 into LC would be 2 into 60% that we found would be raised to N. N is the number of doublings would be 2. When 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 4. First doubling it is asked for batch size of 100, labor cost of 4 batches. So 120 into 2.06 raised to 2. 2 into 0.6 would be 1.2. To the power of 2 would be 1.44 into 120, which would be 172.8. And in each batch, there consists of 100 units. For the 4 batch, the total cost would be 17280. Option D is the right answer. Let's look into this question. Management of a bookkeeping company observed that the average time spent to perform identical tasks using a new software package decreases as the number of tasks performed increases. So it's saying about the learning curve. The following information on the use of the new software was collected. 1, 2, 3 for this task performed. The total time and the average time required is provided. And what is the question? If this learning effect continues, what is the average time required to perform of each of the first 8 tasks? The average time to perform the first 8 tasks is what asked. So here we are not provided with the learning curve percentage. There is no problem. We could find the learning curve percentage. The average time required to produce the first unit is 10 minutes, and the average time required to produce the second 2 units is 9 minutes. So the LC learning curve percentage would be is 9 divided by 10, which is 90%. We have to find the average time to perform the first of the 8 tasks. When you get 8 for the first task, the time is 10 minutes. The first doubling, the time required is 10 minutes. It becomes 2, it doubles to 8, 4, it doubles to 4, 8. And the learning curve percentage that we found out is 90%. And we need to find the average time to perform of the first of the 8 tasks. How can we find the average time? Average time is equal to A into LC raised to N, where A is the time required to produce the first unit, which is 10 minutes, into LC. LC, what is learning curve percentage? 0.9 raised to N. Number of doubling is 1, 2, 3 raised to 3. 10 into 0.9 to the power of 3. 0.729 into 10 would be 7.29 minutes. The answer is option C. So we have a theory question. A manufacturing firm plans to bid on a special order of 80 units that will be manufactured in lots of 10 units each. The production manager estimates that the direct labor hours per unit will decline by a constant percentage each time the cumulative quantity of units produced doubles. The quantitative technique used to capture this phenomenon and estimate the direct labor hours required for the special order is. It's a direct question. Can you give me the answer? That's option A. You're right. It's the same as the propeller incorporated question that we discussed earlier. They are designing high technology propeller for airplanes, and the learning curve that they obtain is 70%, and the manufacturing average cost per unit and the projected total cost are provided with us. In the question, they are asked if the propeller produces 8 units, the average manufacturing cost per unit would be. So 8 units. For 8 units, the doubling would be 1, 2, 4, 8. For the first doubling, the average cost is 20,000. The average cost is 20,000 and the learning curve percentage is 70%. And we need to find the average manufacturing cost per unit for 8 units. The average cost would be A into learning curve rate raised to N, where A is the time required to produce or the cost required to produce first unit, that is 20,000, into learning curve is 70%, 0.7 raised to the number of doubling is 1, 2, and 3, that is 0.7 raised to 3. So 0.7 to the power of 3 would be 0.343 into 20,000 would be 6860. The answer is option C, 6860. So that's all for today's class from the section forecasting techniques. Is there any doubt? Is there any doubt? Are you clear with the computation of total time required and the average time? The two equations and the questions that we discussed, it can be used for the calculation of total cost as well as the total time too. So is there any doubt regarding the questions that we discussed previously, that discussed earlier?